Here begins week 4 quiz, which is 7-week countdown. Number 1 says look at the figures on the right, on the grid at the right. Describe the transformation of quadrilateral ABCD that yielded quadrilateral ABCD with tick marks, which means the image. So this is the original. What happened to create the new image with the tick marks? Well, notice it got bigger, and to go bigger or smaller, we call it a dilation. And this one increased in size, but by how much? Well, notice that the coordinates, if I go A, it is the coordinate 0, 2, and A prime is 0, 4. If I look at B, the original was 2, 0, and that one went to B prime, which is 4, 0. Now it looks like they doubled. So one would say that if I was given xy, the dilation would make it go twice as big in the x and twice as big in the y directions. So you would say that it is a dilation with an increase, because it's getting bigger. You would say an increase by a scale factor of 2, which doubled its size. Next says to describe the result of rotating the original one 90 degrees clockwise. So clockwise rotates like this, like the clock. 90 degrees, well, there's 360 degrees in a full circle, so we would rotate it 90 degrees. A full circle is 360, a half circle is 180, so 90 would take it from basically one axis to another. And if we did that, it would look the same. So the description would be that it would look the same as ABCD. A town of 10,000 people are experiencing incredible growth. Its population P doubles, which means times 2, every decade. Which function best models this population? Well, with growth and rate of increase or decrease, we always start with the initial amount. Okay, they call it A sub naught, or they would call it P for your principal or initial population, if you want to call it that. And they say we start at 10,000. So 10,000 has to be at the beginning. So all these look okay so far. But then we take it, because every decade it's going to double its previous amount. So we're going to take it times 2, because it's doubling. And then we have to raise it to a power, meaning how many times are we going to double it? And that represents the decade. In one decade, we will take the initial 10,000 times 2. In 2 decades, it would be like it's times 4, because it's times 2 times 2, and so on. So we would have our initial month times 2 to the D power. That would be letter D. Number 3, which expressions best describe the progression? Now notice our first one is 4, and that is x sub 1. All of these check with that. The next one, well, let's see. Every time you go to the next number, it increases by 2. So basically you're taking the previous number, which would look, if you're looking for x sub n plus 1, the previous number would be x sub n. So these all check, they have x sub n. Then you're adding 2 to it. Well, you're not going to add 4 to it. Those are out. Now it's between these two. Well, it doesn't say to double it and then add 2. That would give us a different number entirely. They're just adding 2 every time. So F is your solution. Why is the median better than the mean as a measure of central tendency for the data? We're trying to measure the center. So if we looked at all of these, they're all around 70, 80, and 90. So if we were to get the average of those numbers, we'd be around 80 somewhere. But this 0 causes a problem. The 0 is so far removed from those, it's really going to affect our average, or our mean. So because of that 0, the mean is not a good number to use. It will distort the true center of our data. Therefore, median is a better choice, because median doesn't care about the values of the numbers. It just cares about the middle one. So you would have a much different answer if you looked at median compared to mean. And it does all because of this 0. And when it is far removed from the rest of the data, it would be called an outlier. So A is your solution. Number 5 takes us back to a previous quiz question we had, and this is a question of combinations. You have 8 representatives, and you want to choose 2 to be on the committee. You have 2 senators, and you want to choose 1 for the committee. Now I'm going to show you how to use a TI on this one. So if I take my TI calculator and show you, like I mentioned before that you could do, I would go 8 math, arrow over to PRB, which represents probability, and I would want NCR, and then put the 2. So this is 8, choose 2, which is 28. And just to make sure you know I'm not lying, 2 NCR1 is 2. So we have 28 and 2. So this one is 28, and this one is 2, and again we would multiply those 2 results. And that would give us 56. And again, true to form, I'm going to write it over here to show you it doesn't matter where you put it. So be careful about your circles and what you're filling in. And this ends week 4 quiz.